it can be hard to figure out where to start if you want to build your PC setup from scratch. This is a $1,000 full setup for gaming that will allow you to max out the latest games at 1080p and can even handle some games at 1440p as well. This is the Hardware Hub, and let's get right into it. So before we start, I would like to quickly mention I have links to everything in the description, so check those out if you're interested. But with that out of the way, let's get into the setup itself. To start it off for the CPU, I went with the AMD Ryzen 5 3600 for $200. This is a 6-core 12-thread CPU that comes clocked at 3.6 GHz with a boost clock of 4.2 GHz. This is based on the Zen 2 architecture, triggering the latest from AMD. It features a lot of IPC improvements over the past Ryzen generations. Now this is definitely a strong CPU for gaming and actually beats out equivalent i5 CPUs when clock speeds are the same. Now this might not hit the same 5 GHz overclock that you can hit on a lot of Intel CPUs, but in most cases you can hit a nice modest 4.2 to 4.4 GHz overclock on all cores, which is pretty nice. Now this has a lot of threads, so it will be great for doing productivity workloads like video editing and virtual machines, which really like having more threads. The performance that you get in a variety of places with a CPU is really hard to beat at this price point. Now for the motherboard, I went with the MSI B450M BAZOOKA V2 for $79. This is a micro ATX motherboard with 4 RAM slots, 4 SATA 6GB per second ports, and an M.2 slot. A cool feature about this motherboard is that the BIOS can be updated with a USB stick, which is nice so you don't have to use an older CPU to update the BIOS to one that supports the new 3000 series. This is also a B series motherboard and has nice VRM heatsinks, so overclocking is not going to be an issue. So altogether, it comes with all the features that you need at a nice price point. For the RAM, I went with the G.Skill RIPJAWS 16GB set for $70. This is a nice kit that comes clocked at 3000 MHz and is dual channel. Ryzen and its Infinity fabric really benefit from multi-channel and high frequency RAM, which is why it's important to go with a kit like this. 16GB is a sweet spot nowadays for gaming and will allow you to do some multitasking and moderate video editing. So this will serve the needs of this PC. Now for the storage, I have both an SSD and a hard drive. The SSD is the ADATA Ultimate SU800 512GB SSD for $58. This SSD is going to be there for your OS and all of your applications. The 512GB capacity can easily hold all of your applications, and it can also hold a couple of your most played games as well. So if you have a couple of games that you play a lot, I'd recommend you download it onto the SSD to speed up those load times. Of course, this specific model comes with DRAM cache, which means that the more that you use this SSD, the faster it's going to be, simply because this SSD will store your most used files onto the DRAM cache. So altogether, it's a great mid-range SSD at a very good price. Now in addition to this SSD, I went with the SEAGATE 3TB hard drive for $65. This hard drive spins at 7200 RPM and has 64 MB of cache. It's going to be your main drive, so it's going to store all of your games, movies, and large media files. The 3TB capacity is quite big, and you could definitely fit a very large game library and a large media library onto this. There's not much more to say about this. It fulfills the mass storage needs of this PC at a very low price per gigabyte. Now for the video card, I went with the EVGA GTX 1660 for $240. Now this is based on NVIDIA's Turing architecture and comes with a whole NVIDIA software suite like GeForce Experience, which is nice if you care about things like having high quality video capturing software. This also comes with 6GB of GDDR5 VRAM, which is a good amount for 1080p gaming and enough for entry level 1440p. It would have been nice to see 8GB of VRAM like you see with a lot of AMD cards, but 6GB will get the job done. It shouldn't be too limiting, especially for the next few years at 1080p. EVGA generally makes some very nice coolers, so you should have some decent overclocking headroom on this. So altogether, it's a great offering from NVIDIA at this price point. For the case, I went with the Cooler Master MASTERBOX LITE 5 for $50. This is a great mid-range case that comes with a large acrylic side panel and a PSU shroud. Airflow will be decent in this case as it has a lot of room and also has a lot of fan mounts. Building this will be a breeze as there's plenty of room to cable manage and you can shove extra cables into the PSU shroud. So altogether, it's a great looking case that offers nice premium features like a PSU shroud at a mid-range price point. And for the power supply, I went with the 650 watt Seasonic for $59. This is an 80 plus bronze rated unit that has 4 8 pins. Having this many 8 pins is nice as it means that this PSU can pretty much handle any GPU out there as long as the total power draw on this PC is below 650 watts. Now this is non-modular, but that shouldn't be an issue in this PC because the case has a PSU shroud, which means that you can't shove all of your extra cables under the PSU shroud. The cables are also all black, so even placing reduce your wires, it's definitely going to look very sleek. Seasonic is definitely a nice PSU manufacturer, so you'll definitely be fine with this. Now for the OS, I went with Microsoft Windows 10 for $40. Now this is pretty self-explanatory. If you want to game on PC, Windows is the OS with the largest variety and quantity of games available. You can get Windows 10 for $40 on Microsoft Software Swap, which I will link down below. Now also mention that you can get an OEM key from places like Kingwin for a cheaper price, but with an OEM key, you cannot transfer it between PCs. Because of that, I highly recommend that you buy a retail key like the one I linked down below at Reddit Microsoft Software Swap, as this will be a key that you can keep for multiple PC builds. Of course, if you still want to get an OEM key, I will link it down below so you can go check that out if you're interested. Now for the monitor, I went with the Acer KG221Q for $95. This is a 21.5 inch TN panel with a resolution of 1080p. The 75Hz refresh rate is above the usual 60 that we see, and it will give you an edge in games like CSGO, where lower latency is important. This comes with built-in speakers and is FreeSync compatible, which are definitely great features to have. It's also worth noting that NVIDIA GPUs can actually support FreeSync now. The list of officially supported monitors is limited, but you can use it on an unofficially supported monitor like this one. So altogether, it's a great monitor with a ton of features at a low price. Now last but not least, for the keyboard and mouse, I went with the Cooler Master Devastator 3 keyboard and mouse bundle for $36. This is a basic keyboard and mouse set that includes a colored backlight. Now you're able to change the color of the backlight to 7 presets, so you can change it to match the color that you like the most, or something that matches your setup more. I've personally been using the first generation version of this keyboard and mouse and can confidently recommend it to others. It's really hard to beat a deal like this at this price point. Now after seeing all these parts, you're probably wondering, how will this perform? Well, in the latest games like Battlefield 5 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it can max those out at 1080p high to ultra settings with above 60 FPS. This is especially nice as this monitor has a 75Hz refresh rate, so you will be able to enjoy frame rates above 60. In older games like GTA 5 and Rainbow Six Siege, you will be able to max those out and get very high frame rates. Now this PC is obviously capable of playing at 1440p, but you will have to dial down settings to get a good frame rate. Altogether, this is a very good PC for 1080p gamers and can appeal to the 1440p gaming audience as well. Now if you have any questions about this PC setup or PC building in general, please leave a comment down below and I'll help you down there. I also want to mention once again, I have links to everything in the description, so check those out if you're interested. But yeah guys, that's all for today. If you liked the video, please be sure to hit the like button. If you didn't like it, please dislike this video and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.